What's up, everybody? It is a raise the roof kind of Thursday afternoon. Yeah, that's okay. You can laugh at me. That's fine. I'm going to be that goofy dad that all the kids laugh at. I'm going to enjoy every minute of it when the kids get older. Tara's here. What's up, Tara Roberts? Welcome back.
Thank you.
It's very, very good to have you here. As always, follow her on Twitter at It's Tara Time. Chris Towers, unmute that mic, sir.
Don't follow me on Twitter.
Don't follow Chris.
It's a mess.
All right, guys, we got Russell Wilson's on the Broncos. Broncos and Colts coming up tonight with no Jonathan Taylor. And Chris, where'd you end up with Nyheim Hines in your ranking? We're going to, of course, answer all of your questions, so send them along, and we'll be picking them out as we go along.
He is RB17 for me in full PPR. He's more like RB25 in non-PPR. If you look at the games where he's played at least 50% of the snaps, it's happened 10 times in his career, so relatively small sample size, but he does have 7 touchdowns in those 10 games. He's averaged right around 70 all-purpose yards. You're not going to get a lot of rushing from him. It's going to be like 5 to 7 carries historically. Maybe I'm projecting him for like 8. But I expect the Colts to throw more than they usually do without Jonathan Taylor. I can't imagine that they're just going to run Phillip Lindsay out there and pretend that he's Jonathan Taylor or Deion Jackson for that matter. So, I think we're going to see a situation where to supplement the running game, we're going to get, 5 to 6 to 7 targets for Nyheim Hines. We've seen him play one game without Jonathan Taylor since the start of the 2022 season. He had 10 carries, 10 targets in that game, but that was a game where the Colts were down by 21 at halftime, so I don't think you can just expect that again. But it's within the realm of possibility. Like that's within his range of outcomes at least.
And you meant since the start of the 2020 season. That was in 2020, right?
Yeah, that was the game that Jonathan Taylor had. I don't think he had COVID. He was like a close contact, like 2 days before the game or something, so he was out.
Yeah, right. In his career, 4 games with double-digit carries. And in those 4 games, he's had 85 or more total yards in every game. A lot of that was receiving totals, 2 touchdowns for Hines. Tara, how about Melvin Gordon on the other side of the ball? Where'd you come out on Melvin Gordon this week?
So I actually do kind of like Melvin Gordon. I think he's a solid RB2 around RB20. I do prefer Nyheim Hines. It's kind of a weird week for me just because of matchups. You've got guys like Ramondre Stevenson and Damien Harris who are pushing their way up and kind of pushing some of those guys back.
Mm-hmm.
Breece Hall, who I think could be pretty decent maybe against Miami since they've got some injuries going on. So it's a weird week for that. So maybe he'd be a little bit higher next week and moving forward. But especially with Latavius Murray not playing, backfield a little bit less muddled, Mike Boone being a mild threat, feeling more confident about Melvin Gordon than I did heading into the week.
All right. And let me address something before we get into the questions. Okay, yeah, I got a haircut yesterday. It's very short. I wasn't expecting him to use buzzers on basically the entire thing. Give it a week, and you won't be saying that. I will crush Schneier in the hair contest. All right, let's read some questions.
I mean, I feel like just like Thomas Schaefer has the best hair in the FFT family.
I mean, yeah, but I don't need anyone to know
like
that.
How did this show? Oh, I just don't understand how it became an Adam versus Dan thing. Like that,
Everything
like you guys have like unassailably great hair. Like Thomas has great lettuce. Heath has better hair than I think either of you guys.
Wow, you look like a shampoo commercial right now.
Yeah, I don't know
won.
how this became. Like I know you guys have your little thing, but like the rest of us don't have to participate in it.
All right, Thomas is the winner. Jamie's number 2, and then it's a race after that. Would you guys give up the Bears' backfield for T. Higgins?
I would.
I kind of think I would, just because there's a chance that when Montgomery's healthy, that's just a gross mess in a bad offense. Like if we really think like the only reason you really want that Bears backfield would be if one of them is the lead back, like the clear lead back, the way it's been so far this season.
Yeah.
If it's a 60-40 split, I think you're probably looking at something like New England where, okay, against Detroit, maybe they're top 24 options, but they're probably RB3s most weeks. And so I think T. Higgins is a top 10 or top 12 wide receiver at the very least the rest of the season. So I think I'd do that.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. More than likely you have someone that you can plug in as an RB2.
Julio wants to know who to start. 1 running back and 2 flex. It's non-PPR. What do you think here? Gibson, Connor. I'm guessing that's Garrett. Well, it could be Jeff Wilson.
Jeff Wilson.
There's a junior at the end there. Jeff Wilson, Brandon Cooks, and Romeo Dobbs.
It's James Conner for me by a decent margin.
And 2 flex. 2 flex.
Yeah. That's I meant the RB part.
Oh, okay.
And then Cooks, and I think I would go Wilson over Dobbs.
Non-PPR, yeah. What do you think, Sarah?
Non-PPR.
I was a little surprised at how easy of a call it was on James Conner against the Philadelphia Eagles. The terrible, no good James Conner against the Eagles. That was number 1 for Chris. What do you think about Conner, Tara?
Not a good matchup, but volume will be there. Possibly some catches as well. And Jeff Wilson's matchup isn't ideal either. So I guess when you kind of look at it that way, they're kind of even for me. I could see where you lean towards Conner.
I don't know that he's going to get the work. The Eagles have seen the fewest running back rush attempts per game in the NFL. Teams are not running on them. DeAndre Swift crushed the Eagles. Everyone else has pretty much struggled, including the Jacksonville running backs were just awful last week. So I don't really like Conner. Chris, you can talk about this. I just think that he's not going to be a good running back this year. And I don't actually think.
Why is that? Is it just that you don't think that offense is, because that's been a really good situation for mediocre running backs. Like, we don't think Kenyon Drake and James Conner are very good players, but they've both been. I mean, were they both top 12 in that offense? No, yes, that was mostly touchdown dependent.
Drake was top 12 in the second half of 2020, but not in 2021, or maybe I got the years wrong. 2019 and 2020. I don't, because he's been crap. He averaged 3.7 yards per carry last year, and he's at 3.2 now.
Right, but the issue this year is that he hasn't had any touchdowns, or he has 1 touchdown. But
that's not the only issue. The only other issue is he's just not running well. His longest carry, I think, is 10 yards this year.
Right, but if he was scoring, like last year, early on in the season, he was a top 15 running back while rushing for 45 yards a game because he was scoring a ton of touchdowns. That's what this offense historically has done for running backs.
This is exactly what happened to Kenyon Drake in 2020, though. Because he had a bunch of touchdowns in half a season in 2019, and then he was a second-round pick. I think a lot of fantasy industry very excited about him. He was a bust in 2020 because the touchdowns went away. Conner at least works in the passing game, so that's a little bit different. I don't know, man. He just
Yeah, he still had 10 touchdowns, though. Like, he wasn't like I think the biggest thing is that Conner only has 1 touchdown so far. He's getting the passing game work that we were hoping for, but he's got 1 touchdown in 4 games. Historically, in this offense, the lead running back has been a double-digit touchdown pace guy. 4 straight seasons now, 3 straight seasons. So I just think the role is too valuable to go away from.
Well, that's most weeks. I guess maybe against the Eagles, I'd give him a downgrade just because they're forcing teams to throw so much.
Sure.
And all right, let's move on. Let's get another question in here. Give up Joe Mixon, get Josh Jacobs and James Robinson. Oh, it's Robert. What's up, Rob? What do you guys think? Give up Mixon for Jacobs and Robinson.
I would do that.
Yeah, I think it depends on how bad your RB2 is. If this is not like a situation where you absolutely need to start James Robinson, I'd rather have Joe Mixon than these 2 guys, just because I do think Jacobs and Robinson are probably both playing a little over their heads, whereas Mixon, the passing game role is going to make him a top 5 running back, if anything, if it stays even 80% of it the way it has. So I don't feel as confident in Jacobs having the passing game role, and I do think there's a decent chance that Travis Etienne takes over as the lead back there, which is something that we did see a little bit of in week 4 with the game script going south for them.
See, I feel like Jacobs and Mixon are a lot closer from my perspective, because I know that the pass volume could go away for him, but in terms of the production on the ground, they're very similar. So I don't know. I don't feel like the difference is there that much. Last year was kind of ugly for Jacobs, but I feel like in a full season playing in terms of his overall production, he can get you pretty close to what Joe Mixon can.
Is Josh Jacobs just getting Hunter Renfrow targets right now? I mean, I didn't even think about that, and Jamie brought that up on the podcast, but it's not like he's playing on 3rd down. So I wonder if that is a factor. I don't know. It's probably not that simple. It's probably coincidental. But I could see his catches going down when Renfrow comes back. And he's facing a team this week that is terrible against pass-catching running backs, if I can get the stat for you. Kansas City, I know they give up the most catches, the most yards to running backs in the passing game. It's actually pretty amazing stat. They've allowed 20. I gave this on the podcast today. They've allowed 20 receiving yards or a receiving touchdowns to 2 running backs in every game they've played this year. 8 total, 2 per game, 20 receiving yards or a receiving touchdown. Kind of crazy. All right, we'll pick up the pace a little bit here. Who would you start, Hines, Olave, or Dillon?
I believe I have Hines ranked highest of that trio.
Yeah, Hines, but I could be, though Michael Thomas might incline me to go with Olave over him.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't start Hines. I'd start Olave if Thomas is out. And then if you really don't want to do that, you can pivot to Dillon. I think he'll probably get 16, 17 carries again. But I could, it's a good question. Chris, you're sticking with Hines?
I am sticking with Hines.
Okay. Start 3 of these. McCaffrey, Fournette, Aaron Jones. Got to be.
Yeah.
There.
Yep.
Right? Okay.
Although it is worth saying, like, really, really promising signs for Breece Hall last week. He was running like 60% of the routes, got 65% of the running back touches. It was a number 1 running back role. Like, if he had that the rest of the season, it would be hard for him not to be in the top 12 conversation.
Okay, non-PPR, start 2. Lamb, Higgins. He's got this ankle injury, I think.
Yes.
Ankle. All right, leg, lower extremity. Lamb, Higgins, Sutton. You only can start 2? What is this? In non-PPR, Lamb, Higgins, Sutton, Cooks, and Herbert. Yikes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting Lamb and
Yeah, exactly.
Higgins for sure.
It sounds like
this is a very
it's not
shallow league.
That bad for Higgins. Like it's not like I would risk it and go ahead and skip over Sutton and go with Lamb and Higgins.
Not Herbert?
No.
Okay. All right. MP dropped Mike Boone. Yeah, you can drop Mike Boone.
Yeah, that's fine.
And Ken Walker,
there's a chance that Melvin Gordon fumbles and Mike Boone is just the guy, but I think it's going to take a Melvin Gordon bump to happen.
All right. How about, I don't think Keenan Allen's going to play, but would you start him if he plays over Christian Kirk or Jalen Waddle?
No, just because I don't trust him to make it through the game, unfortunately, even if he did play.
Waddle did practice today, so that's a good sign for him. So,
I mean, I guess I might start him over Waddle, but
I think I'd sit Allen. Given the way that this injury has gone, the way he's already suffered a setback, seemingly, I would give him a week.
Yeah.
All right, we got some great matchups here for Robinson going against the Texans, for Kamara going against the Seahawks. We have to sit one of these guys: Mixon, Kamara, Fournette, and Robinson.
I'm sitting Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting Kamara.
I think I'm sitting Kamara too.
I want to, I mean, such a great match. The Seahawks are so bad.
It's said like, I don't know. He had 15 carries and 7 targets in the last game he played. Then he missed the game. We think Andy Dalton would be better for him than Jameis Winston. So I think Kamara, as long as he's healthy, I'm still viewing him as a must-start guy. Maybe I'm too anchored to my preseason expectations.
No, that's fine. That's not my argument. My argument is how healthy is he?
Yeah.
Sure, that's a fair one. I don't know. I just like James Robinson. He's looked pretty good, but it has been like a long carry every game that he's been good. Last week he didn't get the long run, and all of a sudden he had a pretty bad game. He's not really that involved in the passing game. I don't know. I struggle with this kind of player. I think where like they probably need to score a touchdown to be really good for fantasy. And you think he's got a good chance of scoring a touchdown versus Houston. But if he doesn't, it's probably going to be a pretty mediocre game.
Yeah.
So I'm always going to go with the pass catcher, especially if like, I think there's a decent chance the carries are pretty close with Kamara and Robinson.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
Tara and I are going with Robinson. Chris going with Kamara. I like Robinson in a game. I think they're going to win. He's had 25 and 22 touches in their 2 wins, and he's had 12 and 8 touches in their 2 losses. And the Texans have allowed 20 or more PPR fantasy points to 7 running backs in their last 10 games. It is incredible. If Isaiah McKenzie clears the concussion protocol, is he a sneaky PPR flex play?
Yeah, I think he's fine, but it's not a great one. It's like I view him similar to how I view Hunter Renfrow when he's healthy now in this offense, where it's like certain things are going to have to happen, and one of the big guys is going to have to disappoint for him to be good, but it's possible that happens.
No, it doesn't sound like Dawson Knox is trending the right direction.
That's right. That's a good point. Yeah. Thoughts on this trade? Najee Harris for Chris Godwin. Yeah.
I think it's fine.
Let's talk.
I'm in, Tara. What do you think? Tara, you and I I've been on Team Tara today. We've been agreeing on everything. Let's make this trade.
It's always 100 with the running backs. It's always 100% what you have left. Like I can move the needle on, whatever wide receiver you have to, but the running backs, I always like to see what's left on the team. So it's a good trade. I just want to know what's left.
Yeah, that's fair.
Najee. And so who's the RB1 stepping up?
How about this comment? Good call, FFT. I don't know, but sure.
I think it's probably for the muting the guy who was spamming the chat, I would guess.
Oh, okay. At Fantasy Football Today. Thank you. You think I didn't see someone was spamming the chat. Good. Mr. Shampoo, Thomas Schaefer was all over that. All right. Would you start Juju or Damian Pierce over any of these 3? Well, yeah. You got to start Pierce over Michael Thomas as of now, but let's say Michael Thomas plays. Would you start Pierce or Juju over any of these guys?
I think Pierce over London is fine.
Yeah, I got a bad feeling the pass volume is about to tank over there. And, not that it already wasn't terrible, but
in Atlanta?
Yeah.
I'm going to go the other way this week because they have played 4 games, the Falcons. They've all been decided by 4 or fewer points. And the Bucs are coming off a loss, and their last 2 years, they are 7-3 after a loss, and their average margin of victory is 17 points or something like that, which actually is honestly not that much higher than their average margin of victory just in general. But they blew them out twice last year. I think they won by 13 points and they won by like 25 points or something against the Falcons. So I actually think they're not going to get away with 20 pass attempts in this game against the Bucs. And I shouldn't say that. Kyle Pitts missed practice again.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it made me, but I went into the week not loving London. More I've thought about it, I feel like he's going to have to get 8 or more targets. Pierce, though, does have a great matchup against a terrible run defense. They could get blown out. That would be bad. All right, I'm sorry. I've been meandering here. So does everybody agreed? Are we just keeping these receivers if they all start? Do we trust Michael Thomas?
Yeah, that's the other one that's like the injury. It's a little concerning given the way the last couple of years have gone. I don't hate the idea of Damian Pierce over Thomas or London. You're not starting Damian Pierce over Michael Pittman, but I think it's perfectly viable to start him over either of the other 2 running or wide receivers.
I agree.
All right. Should I accept the trade? Give up Devin Well, I don't know what side you're on, but we want you to be on the Connor side, right? Connor for Duvernay?
Yes.
Yeah. Be on the Connor side.
Yeah.
Is it Duvernay or Duvernay? Because I think it's Duvernay, but I've been hearing
that's the way I say it.
Duvernay. Tara, you and me, man, like all the like totally. All right, this one is from Oreo Cookies. Cookie parts are better. Rank these for week 5. Olave, Kirk, and Sutton. All right, we have to sit one of these guys, and he does have a Monra. That's interesting.
I think I'm sitting Olave of this group, which is really tough because he's looked awesome. And if Amon-Ra St. Brown plays, then you're sitting Sutton and Olave.
No, you have to start Sutton tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to start Sutton tonight.
You'd have to bench Kirk, but you do that for St. Brown.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So stick and bench Olave for now.
Yep.
All right, Cooks. Curtis Samuel, I'm guessing, and Drake London. Who are we sitting?
I'd sit Drake London there.
Drake, yeah.
Not Samuel?
No, target should be.
All right, yeah.
Target should be there.
Tennessee terrible against wide receivers. I can't believe I'm going to start Carson Wentz this week. Ugh. Let's see. Connor.
It was really funny that it was like 2 good weeks and people were like, yeah, we can trust Carson Wentz. No, you can't. It's Carson Wentz.
Well,
the tank usually happens like mid-season. I was surprised it happened this early.
No, for me, it was just like the 2 pass rushes that he was facing. It was just like, there's no way he's going to be good against the Eagles and Cowboys.
Well, do you like him this week?
He is top 12-ish. I don't know if he's exactly top 12. He's 15 for me.
Yeah. Connor, Hines, or McLaurin? Standard scoring.
Ooh, standard.
Connor,
yeah.
Yeah. The gambler in me wants to go McLaurin, but the responsible adult in me goes James Conner. Rashad Penny or Nyheim Hines? I have no practice report yet on Penny, but he did not practice yesterday.
It didn't seem like there was much. Like, usually one of my rules of thumb is like if a player speaks with the media on a day when they miss practice, they're probably okay. And Rashad Penny spoke with the media. They didn't actually even know, I think, that he missed practice until after he spoke with them.
Show us the transcript, Chris.
Okay. I can probably find it.
Would you trade Miles Sanders and Tyreek Hill for Jamar Chase and Joe Mixon? Yes.
Yeah. In both cases, I'd rather have Jamar Chase than Tyreek Hill, and I'd rather have Joe Mixon than Miles Sanders.
Oh, what a great trade. All right. Pick 3. Mixon, Jacobs, Dobbins, Christian Kirk, Melvin Gordon. Tough one.
Mixon for sure.
Be, right? Yeah, Mixon. I'm going to sit Gordon. Am I, though?
I might start Gordon over. Yeah, I think it's Mixon, Jacobs, and Gordon for me.
I think so, too.
I think it's Mixon, Kirk, and I mix.
I want Jacobs in there, so I think that forces me to have to. Yeah.
All right, Mixon, Jacobs. I mean, the Colts' run defense has been really good, so I'm a little bit worried about that. But I think a ton of. All right, fine. Mixon, Jacobs, Gordon. It's hard to sit Christian Kirk. Woo. All right, should I drop the Eagles D for the Bucks D rest of season? I could not tell you that. You should not be married to a DS unless it's maybe the Niners or something.
Yeah, whoever has the best matchup in week 5 and then week 6.
Although I'm cool with the Eagles DST as like a must keep, must start. They've been great.
They get the Cowboys next week.
They have an easy schedule.
They do.
I mean, they got Cardinals, Cowboys. I don't know if the Cardinals are easy. Cardinals, Cowboys, by Pittsburgh, Houston, Washington, Colts. Yeah.
But the thing is, you could also drop them and, not miss it because they've got a bye in week 7, and I'm probably not going to hang on to a DST during a bye that early in the season.
Sorry. There's another question there. Breece Hall, Ramondre Stevenson, Rashad Penny, or A.J. Dillon?
Ramondre.
I believe I have Dillon ranked highest out of that group.
All right, Dillon for Chris, Ramondre for Tara. Pick one in PPR, James Robinson, Clyde, or Miles Sander? Robinson for me.
Robinson, but that's tough.
I like Sander a lot this week.
You hate to bench Sanders. You hate to bench Sanders, but I think you got to go with Robinson with the matchup. I
do have Sanders ranked ahead.
Sander. I asked Jamie on the podcast this morning. I said, "Hey, start or sit? Should we start Clyde Edwards-Helaire and then tell everyone to sell high on him after the game?" So we do that every week.
It's probably going to be a good game. Yeah.
Yes, every week. All right, let's get a PPR flex. Josh Jacobs, Juju, Melvin Gordon. Ooh, now you have to choose between Jacobs and Gordon, and then not the last two guys.
Yeah.
I have Gordon a couple spots ahead of Melvin Gordon, or Jacobs ahead of Melvin Gordon. Is that what I said? I said Gordon ahead of Gordon? Yeah. I have Jacobs ahead of Gordon.
All right.
I think it's Jacobs for me. Yeah.
Jacobs. All right.
Yeah.
Pick two in half PPR. Pittman, Gabe Davis, Amari Cooper, Chris Godwin.
Pittman and Godwin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Hit the like button. Yeah, let's check on the like button. How we doing, like button? 100 likes. We could quadruple that right now. Let's go. Hit that like button. I don't know. Why wouldn't you hit the like button? Have I not earned it yet? Have I not made enough? Am I annoying you?
I think you just haven't asked.
That's probably a good point. We don't have any dislikes. That's good.
Well, now you just gave
You don't
someone
now
an
come
idea.
in.
Broncos or Colts? Who wins tonight?
Broncos.
I'm going to say the Broncos.
So is everyone on YouTube. 73%.
Colts missing their best offensive and defensive players. That's usually not a good combination.
Not good. Not good. And all right, let's pick two here. Nyheim Hines, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Brandon Cooks, full PPR.
Hines and Cooks.
Yeah.
Really? All right. James Conner or Michael Pittman?
I mean, I'm not going to keep projecting Clyde Edwards-Helaire for 2 touchdowns every week, right? So unless you're doing that, his production's been pretty mediocre.
Yeah, but Hines is obviously quite the question mark. But all right. What about this one? Pittman for me.
Same.
That is close. I think Pittman. Yeah,
right,
Pittman.
Let's start two here. Hines, Gordon, Zeke, Ingram. So it looks
First
like
two.
Kamara's in, so not Ingram.
Yeah.
First two for you? First two? Okay.
Yeah.
Sutton, Pittman, or Godwin. That's it? Wow, you got some sick wide receivers there. Pick one, guys.
Pittman.
Godwin. It's weird that I said that, but yeah.
That makes perfect sense. He got a bunch of targets last week. He ran a bunch of routes. It just, I'm still not 100% sure with him. He's RB or wide receiver 20 for me, so it's not like I'm super low, but that even feels low.
It's the matchup. I feel like this is a fantastic situation for Brady, Evans, and Godwin. So I'm all in on that combination this week.
And Chris, are you just completely not caring about Denver? I think they give up the fewest fantasy points. They do fewest fantasy points to wide receivers.
It doesn't. It's too early in the season for me to really start accounting for that kind of stuff. Like, who have they played? Like all that stuff really matters when we're talking about.
I think they've been terrific. I mean, there have been 5 wide receivers who had 7 to 10 targets, and only Deebo Samuel has more than 58 yards. Metcalf, Brandon Cooks, Nico Collins, Ayuk, and Deebo, 58.
Devontae Adams didn't have?
He had 7 to 10 is what I said. He had 13 targets, and he went for a big game. But if they shadow Michael Pittman with Pat Surtain, I think he's going to struggle. But,
yeah, maybe. I'm projecting the Colts to throw more than they usually do with no Jonathan Taylor. Hoping that they get behind even for Michael Pittman's sake. I don't worry too much about matchups, I'll be honest. That's just not really part of my process.
Jeff Wilson or A.J. Dillon?
I have A.J. Dillon ranked higher.
And by the way, I'm not saying sit Michael Pittman, but you were given 2 very good options there. I mean, that guy had 3 great options there, so that's when I'll turn to the matchups a little bit. Let's start 2. Godwin, Olave, Hines, and Conner.
Godwin for sure. And then again, I bounce back and forth between Olave and Hines. If Michael Thomas is out, I can go Olave. I like the upside.
Yeah,
there's more
upside.
Make
that
for
call
Olave
tonight. You gotta make that call. Tonight.
Yeah. Okay, I will go ahead and go with Olave. I feel confident. Michael Thomas is not play.
Yeah, I kind of do too.
I would go with Conner and Godwin.
Okay, so everybody wants Godwin. Start a running back, a wide receiver, and a flex. A.J. Dillon, Nyheim Hines. Jeez. I mean, Hines and Conner. And then Pittman over Curtis Samuel. So, all right, give me a running back and a flex. So we're going to start Pittman. I need a running back and a flex here, guys. PPR.
I'm so distracted by the Oreo portion.
You weighed in on this, Tara?
Yes.
You have weighed in on? You've been part of this?
Yeah. I said the cookie thing was strange. It's the cream for me.
I'm sorry I asked. What do you got? Let's give me 2 names.
It is going to be Hines and Pittman.
Hines, Conner, and Pittman for me.
Oh wait, do we need 3?
Yeah, well, Pittman was one of the names. So, yeah. We need 2 more. Hines, Pittman, and Connor. Hines, Pittman, and Tara?
Samuel. Yeah.
Okay. How old are your kids, Tara?
2 and 5. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I was going to ask you what's in your junk drawer, but you probably don't have like good junk. They're too young.
Yeah.
What do you have good stuff in there? Like,
Do you need kids to have junk food?
I mean, it's more justifiable. You don't need them. Well, what's it? You know what? I would say you probably have worse junk food if you have kids because you don't want them eating that crap all the time. What do you have, Chris?
Oh, right. Well, I need to go grocery shopping, but some Gushers are a mainstay. Rice Krispies treats. Love Rice Krispies treats. Try to keep a little, like some Nutri-Grain bars or various like granolas.
Very good. Very good.
Fruit. But
good stuff. Oh God, you would hate my house. We have the lamest, healthiest crap. Here's some organic banana chips. Let's do it.
Gross. Don't like bananas.
Gabe Davis, Breece Hall, or Travis Etienne? Who we flexing here?
Breece Hall.
Yeah.
You don't like bananas?
Don't like bananas.
Boy, that really closes so many food.
Don't like bananas. Don't like banana flavored things. Like banana flavored candy. Like anytime you'd get like runts, the banana flavor.
Those are the best ones. Oh, disgusting. No, those are my favorite ones.
Really?
Gross.
Yeah.
I love bananas, but banana candy, I'm with you. Not so good.
No, they're not sweet enough. This is really the thing. It's like if I'm gonna eat fruit, it might like make it be like candy,
Kirk, Sutton, or Godwin, full PPR. Pick 2.
Godwin.
I have Godwin ranked lowest of them, but I need to change that.
He's Godwin and Sutton for me.
Yeah.
Oh boy, Godwin and Sutton, man, that's really tough.
Godwin and Kirk for me.
It's tough not to say Kirk though. Yeah.
Damien, should I trade Damien Pierce for Alvin Kamara? Good question.
I absolutely would.
I would I would do it. I would maybe try and get. Yeah. Oh wait, 4. Yeah. Sorry, I don't know.
You'd rather have Kamara, right?
Yeah.
All right. Would you rather have George Kittle or Gerald Everett? Everett against the Texans, Kittle against the Panthers. Who do you like? I think Everett if Keenan Allen's out.
Yeah, I have Kittle ranked higher, but I don't feel good about it.
That's this exact same way that I feel.
It's just Kittle's a better player, and so I'll just go with him. And
actually,
it's early enough in the season that I'm still going to default to that.
Yeah, all right. You know what? You've convinced me. I'm good. But I do want to check one thing real quick here. I want to say that George Kittle, in his last now 5 regular season games, let's see.
Oh, he's done almost nothing.
He hasn't. He
had that one. He had one of the best games ever by a tight end late last season. It was like week 13 or something.
Yeah,
and since then he's done nothing.
Well, so he had a 3-game stretch, weeks 13, 14, 15, where he had 181 yards and 2 touchdowns, 151 yards and 1 touchdown, and then 93 yards. Since then, 21, 29, 10. Go to the postseason, 18, 63, 27, 28, 24. So that is 8 games where he has been over 30 yards once and 1 touchdown in those games. But what is different? I mean, what's different between now and the 3-game stretch where he had 93 or more yards? He averaged 140 yards in those 3 games.
Nothing's changed. I mean, he's playing 100% of the snaps, basically. This year, maybe you can argue that because Trent Williams is out the last 2 games that he's blocking more. I actually don't know if that's the case though.
Yeah, you know what? He's due to go off. He's too good. So I could certainly make a case for anybody over him right now.
A famous Adam and Chris argument on the Fantasy Baseball podcast. This guy is due.
Oh, he's due. Yeah. Well, I mean, if he's not due, then you should probably sit him. Naji or Melvin Gordon, PPR?
Naji,
yeah.
You know what I fear with the Steelers? I fear that this is the Kenny Pickett throws for 80 yards and 4 interceptions at Buffalo in his first career start. Like Justin
like Zach Wilson against the Patriots last year.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of rookies first road start or whatever. I mean, it can be really ugly, and I'm probably lower on all of the Steelers, but I was pretty impressed with Pickett. I mean, the guy can sling it.
I will say I've seen some people like, are the Steelers doing him a disservice by starting him at Buffalo in his first start? And it's like, he's going to have to play a tough matchup at some point, right? Like, I don't think that, like, if the guy's confidence is going to be that shaken playing at Buffalo that it like ruins his career, then he's not your quarterback anyway.
He seems pretty confident. He doesn't seem to be lacking in confidence.
Yeah, like he's played in front of big crowds before.
Yeah.
Maybe Khalil Herbert or Melvin Gordon.
Melvin Gordon.
Oh,
yes,
really?
Melvin Gordon.
Really?
Actually, this is one where I check my rankings and I do have Herbert one spot higher.
Good for you.
I hate it.
I love it.
Adam, the maybe comment made me laugh.
By what?
That maybe comment, the crowd's maybe comment, it felt like an ACC stab.
Well, yeah, like he didn't play in front of like big hostile road crowds in Miami.
No, he didn't. But he probably played Clemson or Florida State.
Yeah, I'm sure he played some.
Played in the Orange Bowl, so that that was a crowd. Nyheim Hines, Damien Harris, or Breece Hall. Pick one or sit one.
I will sit the guy who doesn't catch passes
against the Lions.
You
are in love with catching passes. You love them.
I mean, it's a good skill.
I feel like he's going to have 2 touchdowns this week.
He might, but like it's also like it is the Lions. It's the Patriots. It's not a great offense. It might be the Patriots led by Bailey Zappi. And he's got competition for goal line carries. So it's entirely possible that Damien Harris has 3 touchdowns this week. Like that's within the realm of possibility. It's also possible that he watches Ramondre Stevenson get 2 touchdowns,
Chris, I have teams named after Greg Dortch and Ashton Doolin. I am going to change my team name in the FFT League to Zappy Gilmore.
Okay.
There we go. I have the most random team names this year.
I think in the FFT League, I'm still Keenan and Kelsey, even though I don't have.
No, you're not. You're Chris Towers.
Oh, do I not have a team name?
You should be Keenan and Kelsey because that rocks. I'll just double check. Are you Keenan and Kelsey?
I can't remember.
No, you're Chris Towers.
That's boring. Oh, my logo is Keenan.
Boring. Oh, okay. This is a good YouTube question. What do you call a sweetened carbonated beverage? Soda, pop, or Coke? Well, soda. I call it, I can't call it Coke because that's a brand.
It's a soda. It's a Coke. Like if I'm going to a store and I want that, I'm asking for a Coke.
You can ask for a Coke, sure.
But it's a soda or sody.
I think I feel like Tara's going to say pop.
No,
Tara's from the South.
South, it's soda. Yeah.
Where do they say pop in the Midwest?
Pop is definitely like a Pittsburgh thing. I don't know how widespread it is, but that was always
it's super, But there is I don't know where it is, but there's a region that says Coke for all soda.
Yeah, the South.
Oh, that's weird. I can see Schaefer backstage. He's like, "Yeah, told you."
Look right here in the South, we say Coke.
Well, how can you say that? That's like, oh yeah, I'll have an Oreo, and someone gives me a Chips Ahoy, and I'm like, okay, great, thanks. Exactly what I wanted.
Do you ask for a bandage or a Band-Aid?
No, that's different. First of all,
do you ask for a cotton swab on the end of a stick, or do you ask for a Q-tip? Q-tip is a brand or a wrapper.
I know. I asked for a tissue though, not a Kleenex. Okay. Illinois says pop. Florida says soda. Florida definitely says soda. Oh, this is good. I don't want a large fob. I want a liter of cola. That's good. Good. Way to spur some debate here. Melvin Gordon or Nyheim Hines tonight?
I think I have Melvin Gordon one spot higher.
Yeah.
16 versus 17.
Do you think this is true, or do you think this gotta be true? In Ireland, we say can of drink. I believe that.
I do.
Non-PPR, start 2. Khalil Herbert, Ramondre Stevenson, Mike Williams, Romeo Doubs.
I think it would be Herbert and Mike Williams for me.
It is Mike Williams for sure. Yeah, and Herbert.
Okay.
I like Stevenson. Oh, non-PPR. Yeah.
Hollywood, James Robinson, or Miles Sanders at flex?
Hollywood.
Okay. Again, not worried about the matchup there.
The workload has just been so strong for him. I mean, it's been like 12 targets almost every week. It's been
11 and 3.
Really hard to go away from.
Yeah. All righty. Melvin Gordon, Bernard. What did I say? Bernard Pierce. Melvin Gordon, Pierce Brosnan, or Khalil Herbert?
Again, this is this thing I did earlier. So Herbert versus Gordon is like an interesting floor versus ceiling case. I think Gordon's got a higher ceiling, but there's also that like, what if he fumbles on his second carry and doesn't touch the ball the rest of the game? I don't think that's likely, but it's possible. Herbert's a safer pick.
Look, the Colts run defense is spectacular. As long as DeForest Buckner's healthy and he practiced in full this week. The Vikings give up the 6th most fantasy points to running backs. Latavius Murray just had 57 yards and a touchdown against them. So I think there's a pretty big ceiling for Herbert. They're just so committed to the run. It's hard for me to not see him getting fewer than, say, 18 carries. So
right. That just doesn't mean there's
Montgomery's
a big ceiling
not going to play.
Yeah, you do have to assume Montgomery's not going to play. But if he doesn't play, then you go to Pierce Brosnan.
Pierce, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And Pierce is good too. I mean, is Pierce last in this group for you guys?
He is for me, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
His passing game usage was so weird last week. Like, I don't know if I don't know if it was a positive or a negative that he got 6 targets for 8 yards. Like, because Rex Burkhead was still playing all the third downs and all the passing situations. So it was like, what was that about? I don't know yet.
Would you trade Melvin Gordon and Tyler Algier for Michael Pittman?
Yes.
We do that.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see Melvin Gordon being the most valuable player there. I mean, this is going to be a really interesting night. I don't even think he has to play great. I just think he has to be the clear-cut number 1 guy, catch like 3 passes. And then you're going to look at Melvin Gordon, I think, as a must-start going forward if he's getting 15 touches or more a game.
I pretty much slotted him into the Javonte Williams spot in my projections. And it's possible he has more upside than what we've seen from Javonte Williams this season because there's no Melvin Gordon. I don't think Mike Boone is, relatively speaking, as good. So it's entirely possible that Melvin Gordon's just a 15 carry, 4 target guy per game moving forward, in which case he's going to be a top 12 option.
I can see getting bigger work than Javonte because he doesn't have Melvin Gordon behind him. He has Mike Boone or Latavius Murray. Tara, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Yeah, Melvin Gordon could be the most important.
That was literally like word for word.
I'm sorry. I saw a news update on my phone and I was reading it and I didn't hear it.
It's okay. I don't listen to me either.
I figured you probably said that. Go ahead, Tara.
Melvin Gordon could have a lot of upside here. The only thing that makes me say that, yeah, you might be losing out if Melvin Gordon's the one that comes out on top here, but I assume that you've got 2, maybe 3 solid running backs that you're also leaving. And these are just you taking Melvin Gordon and grabbing what you just grabbed off of waivers and flipping it for Michael Pittman. So I'm okay if you lose out to get Michael Pittman that way.
All right. Would you start Melvin Gordon, AJ Dillon, or Mike Boone?
Melvin
Gordon.
Yeah. The third. Isn't he like a
I think he is the third, yes.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah, the thing about Gordon is I really could see him having a bigger workload. Starter sit 1 in full PPR. Jacobs, Damien Harris, or Jeff Wilson?
Right, so sit 1 in full PPR. Damien Williams, Josh Jacobs.
Wilson.
I'm sitting Harris.
I'm going to sit Wilson. How can you sit Harris when he's probably going to catch more passes than Wilson? Or he might anyway.
That's fair. It's a fair point. It just, yeah.
Okay, one more for me.
Rethink my Patriots running backs.
One more for me.
I also just like
go all in.
The Patriots are projected, their implied total is 24.25 points. And that seems crazy. Like, I know the Lions have given up a ton of points, but like that's going to slow down at some point. And this Patriots offense is bad.
I'm
struggling with it.
It's going to be an issue for them if he's their guy.
Yeah.
All right, Russ or Brady, and then Judy or Breece Hall, standard scoring. Brady for sure.
I like Brady this week. And I would go with Judy.
Chris, go ahead, Chris. Judy or Breece?
Breece Hall.
Scoring. I have great news for you, Chris.
Okay.
I will not be repeating anything you say because I am leaving.
Oh, good.
You are the host. You are the captain now. Chris is going to take it home with Tara over the next 14, 15 minutes. I will talk to all of you tomorrow on Fantasy Football Today with starter sit for the NFC home games, and we'll, of course, recap Thursday Night Football. Later, everybody. Good luck, guys.
Bye, Adam.
Bye.
All right, let's go. Trade. Get out of here, Adam. All right. Trade Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Chris Olave for Keenan Allen and Jonathan Taylor. I feel like that's an easy win, right?
Yeah. I do that.
Who are you starting? Devin Duvernay, Josh Reynolds, I assume, who didn't practice yesterday. I haven't seen today, but he was among like 12 Detroit Lions who didn't practice yesterday. And Jeff Wilson, who was you starting the flex at PPR?
Either way, healthy Reynolds. I think I'm still starting Wilson.
I think so too. Yeah. Jerry Jeudy or Drake London?
Well, regardless.
Non-PPR,
yeah. I'm gonna go with Jeudy. Even with Kyle Pitts out, I think the upside is just a little bit higher for Jeudy.
I agree. All right. Start one. Kareem Hunt, Nyheim Hines, or Khalil Herbert?
Khalil Herbert.
Herbert is my highest ranked there too. Sit one in half PPR. Pittman, Waddle, Godwin, or Cooks? Wow.
Oh, I feel like the one that you have. I think you got to start. I think you got to sit Cooks. That's weird. Now Waddle's dealing with the injury, so maybe that tilts things a little bit. But you also have time.
And Teddy Bridgewater. That would be. I'm just not like. I don't think Teddy Bridgewater to Tagovailoa is like a massive downgrade, but I think it's enough. I do have Waddle. They're all top 20 wide receivers for me, but I have Waddle 20th, so I would sit him into this group. But I don't feel good about it.
Yeah.
Drop Kadarius Toney or Rashad White to pick up Isaiah Pacheco.
Well, I think I would kind of. So Pacheco looks excellent, but I don't know how often that work on the ground will be there. If that was just one anomaly game.
Yeah, it's been the first game, and then this one where they won by blowouts. I would be fine dropping Kadarius Toney just because I saw he didn't practice today, or at least wasn't seen at the open portion of practice. So as much as I do like Kadarius Toney, I think he's a talented player. It's like, how long am I going to wait for a guy that I'm hoping is Daniel Jones' #1 wide receiver? You know, like how big is the upside there?
Yeah, I agree with that. So I would for Toney, although and you can come back to Toney. I do think there's value in picking him up because at some point he's going to have to play, probably not this week. So yeah, you can do that this week.
Yeah. And for Pacheco, it's more like he's more likely to get picked up right now.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't play much this week, then, if you want to drop him, he probably won't get picked up. So, it's more of a, what's at the opportunity cost. Najee Harris or Jamal Williams in half PPR. I don't like that Jamal Williams got benched at the end of the Seattle game. Yeah, he only played 50% of the snaps in that game. Yeah. So I don't think he left with any kind of injury or anything. I think it was just he's not a passing downs guy.
Yeah. I mean, I still Najee.
I do have Najee, I think 2 spots higher.
Yeah.
So
it's not a dislike for Jamal. I think he's still fine.
Would you trade Darren Waller for Tyler Higby in PPR?
I wouldn't do that. I would feel icky about it just because
Tyler Higby I'm struggling with just because like you watch that offense and every time he gets a target, it's like, boy, they really didn't have any other option but to throw it to him. But like he's getting 7 yards every time he catches the ball, right? It's like everything that he's doing is like these little flat routes on like bootleg play action and stuff where he's getting nothing. And if that offense ever figures out how to pick up yards in some other way, I feel like Tyler Higby's role is going to disappear.
Exactly. Like I did a video on this in regards to Allen Robinson being the drop. And I think what you're saying makes exact sense. If they're able to figure out how to get away from only being able to hit stuff short and get the ball downfield, then Higby becomes exactly what Higby has always been. So it's just,
5 targets per game. And
yeah.
Pick 3, Scary Terry, Curtis Samuel, Drake London, or Chris Olave. I think I'm going away from the guy who has the nickname, actually. Typically the guy with the nickname is the higher profile guy, but I think I'm going away from Scary Terry.
I think it feels weird because then you got to start both Washington receivers, although technically all the targets can funnel that way. So maybe you're kind of hedging your bets.
Yeah, with no Jahan Dotson.
Ones. Yeah. I might be inclined to be okay with going with Terry, Samuel, and Olave.
Yeah, it would be London or McLaurin. They're 32 and 34 for me. Let's see. How important is the number 1 waiver wire claim? Brian Robinson was dropped. Should you use the number 1 waiver wire claim on Brian Robinson?
I would for Brian Robinson. I mean, yeah, it's important, but just, I mean, I don't know, man. I just, buy into what I'm hearing about Robinson and the way that he looks right now.
Yeah. I struggle with it just because I don't know how much upside there is there. Like, is he going to be splitting carries with Antonio Gibson? Is Antonio Gibson just going to be a passing downs guy? Is Antonio Gibson just done? Those are the questions. And like, if the answer to any of them isn't like, if Antonio Gibson's still going to have a role, I think it's going to be really hard for Robinson to be, a must start fantasy option. Would you trade Saquon Barkley and AJ Brown for Jonathan Taylor and Christian McCaffrey in half PPR? Wow.
That is a big trade.
I mean, those are my top 3 running backs rest of season.
Yeah.
So I think I would have to do it just because I like Jonathan Taylor and Christian McCaffrey more than AJ Brown. But that's really tough.
It is. It is. Just because I feel more positively about Saquon than I do about Jonathan Taylor at this point. But
yeah, I really wish we had like solid confirmation that it wasn't a high ankle sprain for Jonathan Taylor. Because all I've seen really is like tests showed no damage, but it's like that, is this a situation where it's really just he's out this week because it was a short week, but then he'll be fine? Or is it, like Saquon Barkley in 2020, I think, when he was it 2020? No, 2019 when he had the high ankle sprain and was like not himself for half the season. Yeah. Which is a thing that happens with that injury.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I want to make this trade. I just, it's a risk, but do it. Yeah.
Melvin Gordon and Breece Hall.
Melvin Gordon.
Need a flex. Elijah Moore, Jerry Jeudy, or Devin Singletary.
I'm going to go ahead and go with Jeudy, although I don't feel so bad about Singletary right now, but Jeudy.
Singletary. I'm going to go with Singletary and just hope that the last 2 games where he's played like 70% of the snaps are for real and not the first 2 games where he was like 55%. Because if he's like 70% of the snaps, he can be useful in this offense. If it's a 3-way split like it was the first 2 games, none of them are going to matter.
You just don't understand why they don't keep it that way. Like it seems to work well.
I don't know. Rank these 3 in PPR. Kamara, is this just this week or rest of the season? We'll just go with this week. Kamara, Olave, Khalil Herbert, James Conner, Damian Pierce, Melvin Gordon.
I think Gordon. It's hard. It's so hard to rate Kamara right now.
Yeah, I'm assuming he's playing.
Yeah.
And I would go with him,
Yeah.
Connor, Herbert in that order.
I would go Kamara, Gordon, Herbert.
All right.
Yeah.
Drop one of these guys for a kicker. Alan Lazard, Tyler Algier, or Damian Pierce. That's really tough.
Oh, no.
I think I would drop Algier.
Yeah.
If Lazard wasn't coming off a big, like I think there's a decent chance that Algier is more valuable than Lazard the rest of the season, but we haven't seen a big game from Al. I mean, he was good last week, but it wasn't like a huge fantasy game. So I think you can get away with dropping him. Although wait until whatever your window for dropping a player before they become available. Like if you can wait until Saturday night, drop him and he can't get picked up on Sunday, that would be the way to go.
Yeah, I lean towards going with Lazard because if I'm thinking if Algier has a decent game, who am I going to be able to get back on Monday? Probably might not be him.
Yeah. All right. Would you trade Kamara and Drake London for Zeke and Justin Jefferson in non-PPR?
Yes, in non-PPR I would do that.
Yeah, I would. I think you'd rather have Jefferson than Kamara, and you'd rather have Zeke than Drake London. I'm not 100% sure on that one. Flex Mixon or Pittman in full PPR?
Let me go ahead and go with Pittman.
I would go with Mixon. Jamal Williams, is he an every week flex, even with DeAndre Swift available?
When Swift is available, then I think it becomes a little murky and matchup dependent.
Yeah, I think he becomes pretty touchdown dependent. Like there have been a ton of touchdowns and a lot of green zone touches, but I don't. I wouldn't count on that. Let's see. Need 2 for full PPR. Devontae Smith, Terry McLaurin, Romeo Doubs, or Craig Reynolds. No, not Craig Reynolds. Josh Reynolds.
Devonta Smith.
Start Jamal Williams or Melvin Gordon in full PPR.
I'm going with Melvin Gordon. No. Go with Jamal.
This is one where I do have Jamal ranked a little bit ahead, but it's so clear. It's like the difference between Jamal Williams, Khalil Herbert, and Melvin Gordon is so slim. Rate the trade. Grade the trade. Joe Mixon, Jamal Williams, and Deontay Johnson for Tyreek Hill and James Conner.
I'm okay with that. B-ish.
It's a lot. Like I think Mixon and Hill is pretty close. So Williams and Deontay for James Conner. I feel like I'm a little bit on an island and like still thinking Deontay Johnson is. I'm not ranking him as a top 12 wide receiver, but I still think he has that upside. So I wouldn't necessarily. I would rather be on the Mixon side of this, just because I also think if Mixon's passing game role is real, he's a top 6 player rest of season.
Yeah, I can see that. I am down on Deontay. I find myself because I do have a decent amount of Deontay, but I find myself at this point I've got the assets to be able to bench him. So when I look at it that way, makes it difficult.
All right, we're going to do a couple more questions. Let's see. Start Matt Ryan tonight or wait for a questionable Brady Sunday. So I don't think it doesn't really seem like he's questionable. I think he practiced today, so not too concerned about that one. Need 1 running back and 2 flex. 1 running back, 2 flex. Nyheim Hines, Tyler Algier, Ezekiel Elliott for your running back.
But Hines is the running back.
And then out of these 5, pick 2. Algier, Zeke, Juju Smith-Schuster, Brandon Ayuk, and Romeo Doubs.
I think I would just go Zeke and Doubs.
I would go Zeke and Juju, but I think Zeke is the correct choice. And then Juju and Doubs is, Juju's a little more boring, I think. But, he's
safer,
actually, he's looked okay, actually. I think like he's had some nice long runs after the catch that have been pretty interesting.
People are a little too tough on him.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's fair. Pick 1 wide receiver, 2 running backs, and 1 flex. Okay, so Sutton and Higgins.
So Higgins.
2 running backs, Mixon, Jamal Williams, Khalil Herbert, Damian Pierce, Nyheim Hines.
Herbert and Williams. Yeah.
And then 1 flex from the leftovers. Sutton, Mixon, Pierce, and Hines.
Honestly, I might go Mixon.
Yeah, I think that's the right call. All right, and that's going to do it for the Thursday afternoon start sit Fantasy Football Today stream. Thanks so much for listening. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you get notified every time we have a stream. We'll have another one Sunday morning at 11:30. We'll have another one the Tuesday evening after that. Back here next Thursday. We'll see you next time on Fantasy Football Today.